everybody, it's Sandi Clarkson here with you today, doing another process video for My Creative Scrapbook using the July limited edition kit. Also, I'm using the sketch that we have for this month. I did flip the sketch and did it so that the photos are on the left instead of being on the right, because I wanted to save that pretty floral cluster up there in the right hand corner that's on this beautiful piece of paper that is from the One Perfect Day collection from 49 and Market. So as per the sketch, I'm going ahead and working with some layered pieces to go under the photo, and I wanted to use this wood grain here. I wanted to use it on two different pages, so I was strategic about where I cut it. So I think it's about, I do measure it here in a minute. I think it's about 6 by 8, something like that. And I wanted just to get it where it would be as per the sketch, but also I wanted to save the images that are on the paper, as much as I could, because I wanted those florals to show on the pattern paper beneath it. And I also had already cut a doily from one of my metal dies from Prima, and I just wanted to go ahead and add that onto the page, because I thought it would add some femininity and make it very delicate, because this is going to be a wedding page. And I'm going to be using photos from my nephew and his wife's wedding. So then I bring in the second piece that I've already cut, and I think this is pretty much like 6.5 by 6.5 square. And I want to use I want to leave the blue polka dotted edge over on the right side to be that part that comes over. And then in the sketch, you can see that some frames are used as a layer. And so I'm bringing in a couple of frames. Then these are from the embellishment pack. And in the sketch, it shows them a little bit crooked, but you could make them straight or however you want. But I thought, since this was a wedding photo, that I would just make it pretty formal, if you will, and go ahead and keep them straight instead of, slanting one of them. And so there, I'm just using my T-square to line things up and make sure I'm on target. I do have my laser thing behind me, but it's a little hard when I'm doing a process video to move over there and line things up with the laser. But that is one of my favorite tools in my scrapbook room. But anyway, I'm putting in a second. I don't really have room for a third one because of the size of the photo frames I'm choosing. But then that's going to, if you wanted to, you could also trim a portion of those frames and use them elsewhere. But I felt like I had plenty to work with, so I didn't do that. And there I did one photo in color and one in black and white. The one in black and white is them signing their marriage license, and the top one is from the actual ceremony. It did rain, so they were using clear umbrellas throughout, and it was an outdoor wedding in Colorado, so very romantic. And here is a piece that I think this is from the back side of the cover for the laser pack, and I just trimmed that to be another layer, and as there is one on the sketch, but also this is going to help be beneath a floral cluster, so that'll be nice. And I'm just using some vintage photo ink on the edges to make them pop a little bit. This kit is very neutral. This pattern paper here that I'm using as my background is a little bit of an exception, because it does bring in some more vivid pinky peach tone, and I really like it, and that's why I wanted to use it for this particular page, which I'll probably gift to the bride and groom. I am going to be making it pretty dimensional, and so I'm trying to avoid putting anything near the edges so that this layout can be framed or put in a shadow box type of thing. Here I'm showing you the die cut that comes with the kit, and I have colored it with some oxide. Well, one is an oxide. The peeled paint is an oxide, so I did the leaves with that, and then the florals I did with saltwater taffy. And I either don't have saltwater taffy oxide or it's misplaced somewhere because I couldn't find it in my oxide stash. Excuse me. But anyway, if you are a subscriber to the Kit Club, you can go online and you can get the cut file for all of the cut files that My Creative Scrapbook has offered, and then you can download them and you can resize them or cut them out how you choose. So I wanted to elevate the photos just a little bit, so I'm using my trusty dusty corrugated cardboard and cutting that into squares and then mounting them on the photos so I can put them on my page. That brings a little dimension and interest to the layout. I really like it. If you have craft foam, you can use that as well, or you can even just use craft tape, foam tape, and that kind of thing. I like to use my corrugated cardboard because I already have it. It's free, it's sturdy, and I really like to use it. And there I'm just using some berry glue. With this glue dries clear. It's white, but it dries clear, and it dries very fast, almost like art glitter glue. I'm finding very little difference between the art glitter glue and the berry glue, although I would say maybe the art glitter glue dries a little bit faster. But they're both fairly quick. So now I'm going to bring in some flowers. These are Prima flowers. They're like rosettes, and they're really pretty. And I'm experimenting with how I'm going to put the die cut, whether I want it to be on top of the photo just a little bit, or whether I'm going to put it to the side. And I do ultimately set it to the side. And I wanted to color it so that parts of it that would be visible would be pretty and blend in with the page. You could leave it white if you wanted to, because I also like that look. That would have worked nicely because I did have the white and doily up in the other corner. But in the sketch, there's a big star element on the side of the pictures, and so I wanted to kind of replicate the star. And then I think that's also where the title goes, and a couple other cute little images. And then I'm just fluffing my flower a little bit just to make it pretty, and also just to make it a little bit flatter so it will go underneath the green floral. And then I had one little brown one that I brought in. And I think the green looks really good with the photo, the upper photo, because of the green in the background from the grass and the trees and all that. They were married along the side of a creek. Very romantic. And then I have another laser cut piece that's, a floral cluster, and I want to use that to kind of balance out the page, but to not be, real bulky. And then I want to add, one more three-dimensional flower to that. Although, again, I want to stay mindful of staying away from the edge. And then from the laser cut, there's some little party lights, and I wanted to use those. I've noted in the pictures that they did have some lights like this, so I thought that would be nice to add those to this page. As part of my roofing project, my pergola got a new cover, and I need to get some new party lights up there so we can have them when we're out on the patio. So anyway, I was just experimenting with placement there, whether I was going to tuck it in or if I was in which area I was going to tuck it in, and or if I was going to just put it a little bit on the edge of the photos. But it is going to tuck nicely. I can go ahead and give it a little bit of dimension, and it will still be underneath the photo. I'm just bringing it along right there, and then I'm putting a flower to add to the cluster. And then I do have a round circular piece, and this is from the embellishment pack. Oh no, I'm not bringing that in. I have a stamp. There's a stamp set in the kit, and for my first time to use it, I'm using a little word phrase that said "This Beautiful Life," and I'm using some speckled egg, oxide, and I do just a little bit of stamping. I was looking for my little small square acrylic block, and I didn't find it, of course, until after I got done with this page. But I did ultimately find it, and so I've moved it to where it's right in my must-have tray. But I actually show it to you in another video because I was so excited that I found it. So anyway, not much stamping, but just did a little bit to add some dimension. And there's that little round piece I was talking about. I think it says special day. And so that's going to be my title piece. I do use another little word phrase that I mount on the green flower, but I'll be doing that here in a minute. And that's just going right there on top of the page, or on top of the flower. And I go ahead and distress the edges of that. That just helps things to be seen a little easier and gives some contrast. And now I'm bringing in that strand of pearls that comes in the kit. I just thought this would be really pretty on a bridal page. And I'm just going to be weaving this in amongst this florals here. If you've subscribed to the Kit Club for very long, then you can remember back when Pam would always include ribbon and pearls in almost every kit. And I remember that I used to always be trying to think of new ways to use the trims. And I think a lot of people didn't use them, and so they're not in the kits anymore. But occasionally I'll think, oh man, I wish I really had a ribbon or a trim that matched. Now you'll see me go ahead and gluing this piece down, but then later I decide that I want a little bit of the pearls to be nestled over there on the left-hand side of the photo, and that by that other little rose. And so I do go ahead and cut off the end of that one strand so that I can add some pearls to the other side. And I'm glad I made that decision. But there I'm just, adding some glue so the pearls won't move around. So I'm just going to tuck that underneath and glue it. So I think pearls are perfect whenever you're doing a wedding page. Anything that's, very formal, or if you just have something feminine and sweet, they're nice to use. We also got embroidery floss in the kit, if you haven't seen that yet, and those are a nice way to bring some color into your pages, into this, very neutral kit. And then I'm playing around with the green flower, and I'm being cautious about that because I don't want to cover up too much of the die cut that comes in the kit, but yet that area up there where I'm playing around just felt a little bit bare. So I decide that I can probably put the flower kind of between the die cut and the title, although there's not much really room right there, but I did want that, die cut to still show, so I'm real careful about that. And it did give me 4 flowers, and I usually do an odd number, but I think here I've decided I'm just going to let that circular title piece, be my 5th element, if you will. And then I hope I haven't recorded too much of this, but I do come back with some pearls from my stash, and I'm going to be adding these to the flowers. I like to do something extra to big flowers like this, whether it's to add a little bit of glitter or to add some pearls, which is what I'm doing here. And then there are some things that I do off camera, and I don't have the layout right here to show you, but I think I go back and add a couple of little things. I did edit out some of the pearl placement, but I thought, well, I would leave a little bit in, just so you could see how I do it. I just put a dab of paste there and, glue that will be secure and hold them, and place them about. These are not flat back. These are round pearls from Prima Marketing. They are not part of the kit. They are from my stash. So I'm just about getting to the end of the layout. There will be close-ups here at the end of my video, and I will be having details down below in the description box about how you can order a kit and how you can subscribe to the Kit Club so that you never miss anything. Now I'm going to be splattering some white glossy spray that's from Dina Wakley, and I'm going to add that all around. I am using my splatter brush to be my tapper in this instance instead of using it to splatter with. But you know me, whatever's handy, that's what I'm going to use to help me splatter. I thank you for coming by today. Please like and subscribe if you like my content and want to get more of it in your feed. And here are those close-ups. I appreciate you coming by. I always look forward to seeing your comments. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.